Have you ever been dumped in a relationship and then your ex won't leave you alone? That's the subject of today's reading. Hi everybody, I'm Sue Ellen Clayton. Welcome to my channel where we're learning how to read tarot one card at a time. In today's video, we'll be using a 3-card spread to figure out why a woman's boyfriend won't leave her alone after he broke up with her. I will be using the Radiant Rider-Waite Tarot, and there's a link below. This was posted anonymously online by a woman who I will call Louise. She reported that her boyfriend ended their relationship because she wouldn't make him a cup of coffee. She's trying to move on with her life and he keeps calling her. Her question is, why won't my ex-boyfriend leave me alone? Louise drew 3 cards. She used a self, situation, challenges spread. Card number 1, self, represents the boyfriend's current state of mind. Louise drew the 5 of Swords. Card number 2, situation, looks at what is happening to the boyfriend and why he keeps contacting her. Louise drew the 6 of Coins. Card number 3, challenges, looks at the boyfriend's internal or external challenges, obstacles, fears, or limiting beliefs that are keeping him from moving on. Louise drew the 2 of Cups. I'll begin by talking about my first impressions. The first thing I noticed is that we have 3 figures in each card. In the first 2 cards, we have 3 people. One of the men is clearly dominant and has power over the other 2. In the third card, we have 2 people and a lion. The couple is equal, but we have a lion's head and a winged staff with 2 snakes between them. The other significant thing I noticed is that we have 3 stage cards. There are only a few stage cards in the deck, and we have 3 of them right here. Sometimes stage cards indicate that a person is isolated from people around them, but that's not the case here, as there are other people in the card. The other thing stage cards can indicate are people that are acting or playing a role, and I think that's the situation here. Something we need to do is figure out who is represented in each card. There are 2 ways you can do this. One is intuitively, and I immediately saw the larger figures in the first 2 cards as representing the boyfriend, and the male in the 2 of Cups as representing the boyfriend. If you're unsure, you can use a pendulum, and you can see a picture of one on the screen. It is a weighted object to which you can ask yes or no questions. You can look at each person and ask, does this represent the boyfriend? And you'll get one of 3 answers, yes, no, or I don't know. I have a whole video on how to use a pendulum, which I'll link to below. In this case, my pendulum confirmed my intuition. All 3 cards are minor arcana cards, so I don't think this is a life-changing breakup for either of them. We have Swords, Pentacles, and Cups represented in this reading. Wands is missing. Now let's look at each card individually to try to figure out why the boyfriend won't leave Louise alone. Card number 1, Self, represents the boyfriend's current state of mind. Louise drew the 5 of Swords. Swords are about thoughts and communication. They are also sharp, and in this case, what the boyfriend said ended up cutting off the relationship. While I believe he was trying to hurt Louise, I don't think that his goal was to permanently sever ties with her, even though that's what happened. I think the boyfriend believes that he was betrayed when Louise refused to make him a cup of coffee. I think that he has very clear and rigid thoughts about how a partner should act, and that includes making him coffee. However, I'm guessing there was more to this story. Perhaps his mother made his father coffee every morning, and he feels that's just what you do when you love someone. Or maybe he gets up early on weekends to make a big breakfast for himself and Louise's only role is making coffee, and she forgot. Or maybe Louise promised that she'd make him coffee before a big meeting, and she overslept, which made him late for work because he had to stop and brew his own coffee. I think marriage counselors would say that the real issue is not about what the argument is over. It's a power struggle, not about coffee. On that note, I have a friend who thought she was happily married. Our kids were the same ages, and we spent a lot of time together. One day, her husband announced that he wanted a divorce. His reason was that she had not purchased new underwear recently. That is seriously what he told her. I find it hard to believe that he'd throw away a 20-year marriage because she was wearing old panties, but that was his story and he stuck to it. This is also a card about deception. The boyfriend may believe that Louise was deceiving him by not caring enough about him to make him coffee. The other side of the coin is that he may be deceiving Louise and projecting that onto her. As I said, swords represent thoughts and communication, and it looks like he's lost control over what he's saying. 2 of the swords are on the ground. 3 of them are missing points, which means that the boyfriend has not been quite as sharp lately. I think that the boyfriend has been deceiving Louise, but now he is losing control. So the boyfriend's state of mind is that because Louise refused to make him coffee, he feels betrayed and wants to hurt Louise by cutting off the relationship. It can also mean that he's been deceiving Louise and is losing control of the situation. Card number 2, Situation, looks at what is happening to the boyfriend and why he keeps contacting her. Louise drew the 6 of coins. This is another card that shows a power imbalance, which could be emotional, financial, or both. I think there's definitely a financial imbalance. We see the boyfriend, dressed in fine clothing, treating Louise and another woman like beggars. The boyfriend could believe that he's been extremely generous with Louise, yet she doesn't appreciate what he does and is always begging for more. He's keeping track of the coins using a scale to make sure that things are balanced. The situation might be that the boyfriend feels that he's giving a lot more emotionally to the relationship than Louise. He resents her for her lack of effort, such as refusing to make him a simple cup of coffee. It could also mean that he knows that Louise is 100% invested in the relationship, and he knows that he is not. The other person on stage leads me to believe that there is another woman involved. The boyfriend has been sharing his energy and resources between Louise and someone else. He is on stage, so he's been pretending with both women. He's trying to make a decision about what to do, and they've both seemed relatively equal in his mind, as we can see by the fact that the scales are balanced. The decision was tough until he broke things off with Louise. I think he keeps contacting Louise either because he feels like he made the wrong choice or because he misses the thrill of deceiving her. You've made it this far in the video, and I wanted to stop and ask a favor if you're not already a subscriber, and that is to please hit the subscribe button. It's free for you, and it will also help me to grow this channel. Plus, it means that you won't miss anything. Thanks so much, and if you're already a subscriber, I truly appreciate your ongoing support. Now let's get back to the video. Card number 3, Challenges, looks at the boyfriend's internal or external challenges, obstacles, fears, or limiting beliefs that are keeping him from moving on. Louise drew the 2 of Cups. I think the first thing is that the boyfriend misses sex. We can see 2 large cups between the couple. Cups can represent a womb, as opposed to wands, which are a phallic symbol. So the fact that the boyfriend is gently touching Louise's cup can be interpreted as a sexual gesture. The 2 of Cups is basically the minor arcana version of the Lover's card. I think that the boyfriend has convinced himself that he and Louise are still in love, and he doesn't want to let go of that. We see 2 things between them. One is a lion's head, and the other is a winged staff with 2 snakes coiling around it. These represent Louise's feelings about the boyfriend. The boyfriend can't recognize the truth of the situation, and his belief about continuing the relationship is an illusion. That's what's keeping him from moving on. The lion's head is a monster from Greek mythology called a chimera. A chimera can refer to an imaginary monster or some type of illusion. The chimera's big weapon was that she could breathe fire. She was pretty much invincible as she had a lion's strength, a goat's cunning, and a snake's venom. That is how Louise views herself, and she's not going back. She knows that she is a powerful woman and does not deserve to be treated like this. As she said in her request for a reading, she is trying to move on. Between the lion's head and the couple, we see a caduceus, which is the staff with 2 snakes coiled around it and wings at the top. This is the staff carried by Hermes in Greek mythology and the god known as Mercury in Roman mythology. Both Hermes and Mercury brought messages between Earth and the underworld, and their stories are pretty similar. A lesser-known role for both of them is the god of thieves and tricksters. According to an article in worldhistory.org, which I've linked to below, quote, Hermes was a trickster since his first day of life when he stole sacred cows and then sacrificed 2 of them to the gods. The caduceus, a staff with 2 snakes twisted around it, is a symbol of Hermes and is associated with the crossing of boundaries and the transitions from this life to the afterlife, unquote. I think this represents the fact that Louise has figured out that her boyfriend has been deceiving her. You can see the caduceus is forming a barrier between the cups, and she's not touching him. Also look at the wreaths on their heads. The boyfriend is wearing a wreath of red roses that indicates love and passion. He wants Louise back. Louise is wearing a loyal wreath, which indicates victory. She will get what she wants, and that does not include a relationship with her boyfriend. In short, the boyfriend's challenge is that he's not facing the reality of the situation. He still believes that he's in love with Louise and figures that she should be in love with him. So let's summarize. We started by noticing that we have 3 stage cards, which represents that there is a lot of deception going on in this reading. Card number 1, the 5 of Swords, represents the boyfriend's current state of mind. He feels betrayed. However, he also knows that he's been deceiving Louise and is losing control of the situation. Card number 2, the 6 of Coins, looks at what is happening to the boyfriend and why he keeps contacting her. There are a couple of things happening here. The boyfriend may feel like he's given more than his fair share to the relationship, emotionally and/or financially. However, I think the big issue is that there's another woman involved. The boyfriend feels like he made the wrong choice by cutting off his relationship with Louise, or he wants to keep seeing both women and misses the thrill of deceiving her. Card number 3, the 2 of Cups, looks at the boyfriend's internal or external challenges, obstacles, fears, or limiting beliefs. I think that the boyfriend has an idealized version of the relationship. Yes, he misses sex, but he's also telling himself that there is still hope and he's still in love with Louise and she's still in love with him. He's not facing the reality of the situation, which is that Louise is moving on. I hope that this video gave you some ideas that you can apply to your tarot practice. Please leave a message if you'd like to share what you learned. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.